Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on video mine. It means a lot that you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. Today's topic's a pretty unique one. So today I'm gonna go through every single season and I'm gonna say whether I like the pre-merge better or the post-merge better. A season is really defined by really there's two parts to every season. There's the pre-merge and there's the post-merge. There's little subparts, within those where the pre-swap, post-swap, and then the finale or like early merge. But overall, it's just a completely different game once you get the merge. And some seasons have such a great pre-merge, and then it falls flat at the merge. Or some seasons have a pretty bad pre-merge, but then have a great post-merge. So it really does go back and forth, and we'll have to discuss it. And so we are going to talk about what is better, the pre-merge and the post-merge for all 40 Survivor seasons. Before we start, 76% of you guys who are since we don't aren't subscribed. Let's change that. It's easy and it's free. And if that's it, let's get started. Season one. I think that the pre-merge is better for this season. I think we're going to see a lot of seasons where the pre-merge is better than the post-merge. Just because, especially in these early seasons, the post-merge tends to be up a gonging with maybe a little bit of twist. But in this season, there is no twist. It's just up a gonging. Plus, the pre-merge has like that. This show is so new. It's so like original. Like there's nothing like it. Like you have that very iconic opening, and yes, you do have like the finale episode, which is probably like a top five Survivor episode just in general. But besides that, the other post merge episodes are terrible. And yeah, no, the pre merge I'd say is definitely more special for me. Season two, Australian Outback again, easy pre-merge. The entire cast, there isn't one dud in this entire cast. So the pre-merge boots, by no means are like people who we needed to see go. You have Mitchell, interesting character. Mad Dog, interesting character. Debbie, interesting character. Kel, interesting character. Kimmy, interesting character. Everybody's super interesting. And once you get the merge, aside from the Jerry Blindside, there really isn't. I mean, especially after the Jerry Blindside, you really see nothing. Especially towards the end, though, like the last two episodes of Australian Outback are seriously a very, very, very boring stretch. I would say, in my opinion. Survivor Africa, I'm gonna go with the post merge only because the pre merge doesn't really have anything special aside from the swap being great. But especially pre swap, it's just like there isn't much there. The first few boots are kind of duds, and for that reason, I just like it is kind of like when is the game gonna start? But then you get the Kelly Goldsmith blindside at final nine where the minority gets the flip, um, but then like one who was it, the gay guy, he flips back to the majority with Lex because he just hates Frank so much. Brandon hates Frank so much that he switches back. And yeah, that's a pretty good vote. And then overall, like the Ethan reward, super cool. So I'd say overall that I would go with the post merge for season three. Season four. This is. I mean, it's tough for me. For me, what makes season four golden is that stretch from the Hunter blind side all the way to the flip episode where they all flip. The episode after Boston Rob goes home. I think like from like that final 18 or 17 or whenever Hunter goes home. I think it's final 17. I think or 17 or 16, something like that. From there to like the final nine. Wait. No. From whenever Hunter gets blindsided to around when like the merge happens, the vote after the merge when they all flip, that's a great stretch. So it's really a matter of like it's basically half of that stretch is in the pre-merge and half of that is in the post-merge. And so I would go with the post-merge because if it's a tie goes to the runner, and the runner for me is always the post-merge because the post-merge is a more individual game and it's more strategical. And so for me, I'm going to go with the post-merge, but it really is half and half. Both are pretty good, and it really the entire season really is it really is good because of that stretch. Every other episode is kind of blasé, but that's okay. Season five, come on. I mean, is there a non option? I'll go with the pre merge. Whatever. There's the fake merge. There's the out auction, and you have Robsy, and you have Sheehan. Boom. All right, season six, Amazon. I think this is a really, really, really easy choice post merge. Pre merge of the season is a bottom 10 pre merge for me. I don't watch Survivor to watch Love Island, and it's not even like a good Love Island. It's actually just like a horny Love Island, and not in a cool way. I mean, literally, I was just watching Rob has a podcast, a 5 hour podcast in the season, and I remember the lady who was on was like, And like the most outrageous, out of all of the men's sayings is in the premiere when Roger's like, they have the 8 ball, and Roger asks the 8 ball, "Is Jenna gonna quote give the old man some?" So yeah, no, it's just that's not what I watched Survivor for. So yeah, let's just move on now. Season 7. It's actually a fantastic pre-merge. Hmm, I don't know. That's tough. Honestly, if I'm being honest, like coming from my heart, I'm gonna say pre-merge. The post-merge is great. You have like the fair play, you have the fair play and Burton vote where Sandra flips it back, but then you have the fair play flipping it back at the final four, pitting Dara and Lil against each other, and then you have the Rupert blindside earlier. You have the Outcast twist like coming to real fruition in the post-merge, but then you have a pre-merge that is the best pre-merge up until probably Here's vs. Villains is the next best pre-merge. It really is a fantastic pre-merge. Every single pre-merge boot is great, and then to have the Outcast twist, it really relates us to the people who went home earlier in the episode. So on a rewatch, you can understand Lil and Burton's like exits more, and you can understand like that, and so it makes the pre-merge even more fun on a rewatch. And so I definitely think that the pre-merge is better, but I do think the post-merge is just as good. Season 8, it's obviously pre-merge. I mean, as much as like the end of the pre-merge is bad, those first like 5 episodes, yeah. When Hatch goes home is when it gets bad. Kind of really dark in general. But as aside from Jenna quitting, I really think like that 5 episode stretch is fantastic. Old school Survivor. You just have really really nice camp life moments. Everybody gets confessionals. You get to know the people that are gonna be there for a while, and you get to know the people who are gonna be there for a few more episodes. It's pretty even editing. It's just, and you introduce to Rob and Amber. I think those first 4 episodes make up for the last 3 episodes of that post merge, or I guess the last four. And for that reason, I have to go pre merge. Plus, there's just nothing in that post merge except for Rob and Amber really, really, really coming to fruition, I guess. Season 9, I would go post merge. It's not because of the first three votes of the post merge. It's because of the last 4 votes or 5 votes of the post merge are just fantastic. Chris Sarton made the comeback first, flipping it all on Leanne, and then taking out Amy, and then like signing Julie in like a really really cruel fashion, and then blindsiding Eliza in a really cruel fashion, and then winning the final challenge, and with that, honestly, a pretty good, pretty good final challenge. That's pretty quick at the same time, and then also the final tribal, just like Chris just BSing. The last 4 episodes, or sorry, the last 4 votes of that season are fantastic. It's just the first four votes of that post merge are not as exciting, but because there's not much in the pre merge, and aside from Rory, really is the only one that's there in the pre merge, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. And I guess like the whole women's tribe is really fun to follow, but they don't go to tribal as much pre swap. So yeah, I'd say overall the post merge for this season. Season 10, I got post merge just because of one, the way that Jen and Greg like try to launch like a counter alliance against Tom and Ian at the final 7 or 6 or something like that. And it doesn't work, but it's like really really interesting, and the people are like the Koror tribe is really playing the game really hard. And then after that, when it's just I guess at the final 5 is when it really starts, where Ian just like gets shat on. Every single move he tries to make just does not work at all. That's my alarm. All right, continuing. Season 11, I got the post merge. Honestly, the pre-merge and post-merge are pretty even. I think they're both pretty average. I overall think Guatemala is a pretty average season. There really isn't a dip anywhere. There's not like a bad episode anywhere. The pre-merge overall is pretty consistently like a 6 out of 10, and the post-merge is pretty consistently like a 6.5 out of 10. So I'll go with the post-merge just because, again, Ty goes to the runner. The runner is always the post-merge with the Jamie blindside. Jamie's a fantastic, paranoid character. We have Judd, staying for so long, which was great for the show. And I feel like overall it's a really good season. Season 12, easily post merge, although really for me the pre merge is only bad because Lamina is a tribe, and it's only good because Kasaya is a tribe. If it weren't for that, like if both tribes were like Lamina, that it would be the worst pre merge ever. Lamina is the most boring tribe in Survivor history, the most boring tribe. Post merge, I mean, just the fact that there's less Lamina in the post merge already makes it better because it's a Pokemon game. But yeah, no, I think overall it's not a fun experience to watch at all. Season 13 was like Cook Islands, so that would be. I mean, you have to say post merge. I really don't think this season has much going for it, other than the fact that like you do have Parvati, Yule, Ozzy, and you have the I-24, which is a great story, but like literally everything else is boring except for like maybe Nate and Cowboy and Penner. Everything else is pretty boring. You have a fantastic merge vote, and everything else is subpar. That's just yeah, but I guess like the best. I think the most and enter like if you're watching it live, which I didn't. But if you're watching it live, I'm sure this was the most anticipated vote reading, probably like the most entertaining one because you really truly had no idea, and then you get down to the final vote, and you really like think both of them are gonna win. Like like knowing that you'll won like early on. Even then, I still was like on the edge of my seat for the vote reading when they got back to LA. So yeah, no, I'd say overall the post merge, but it's not really like it beats out much. Season 14, none of the above. No, I'll go the post merge purely because of the Ed Guara boot. There's really nothing else. But the Ed Guara boot is the only time I ever like looked up from my phone during that season. So yeah. Season 15, I'll go again with post merge. Although I'd say similar to how season 7 is. It's like there's a lot in the post merge, and there's a lot in the pre merge. No one's really like a dud in this season, so the pre merge is still good. But the post merge has more in like enticing votes and more entertaining dynamics going on. I think, whereas in the pre merge, really it's like the biggest thing is like the idol finding, and in the post merge, the biggest thing is the blind side with 2 hours in your pocket. I'll take the latter for sure, just because it for me it's more interesting. But I think both are really good. Season 16 easily post merge. This season is made off of that merge where Eliza goes home to the Eric vote. That stretch is a fantastic stretch. That is that's probably the best stretch of Survivor episodes ever. Like there will never be a better stretch of Survivor episodes, probably ever. Because of how natural it was, and it really did start the whole like like what a blind side from Jeff like era, and it really kept going until the Advantage era, which was season 30. So boom, yeah, there you go. Basically started an era, if you ask me. Not an actual era, but like it started the way of thinking, right? So I would say easy post merge. Um, Gabon, the pre-merge actually wasn't that bad in Gabon. I actually like the arc of Fong. I also love Ace as a villain, and I feel like Fong is a lot more entertaining. Like the people from Fong get a lot more boring, I'd say, at the merge because they realize they get power and then they lose power again. Whereas in like I feel like in the pre-merge, like it's just a train wreck and it's a lot more fun to watch. Plus Ace. Like I love Ace, so I'm gonna go with pre-merge for Gabon. Yeah, so I mean I love Ace. I wish Ace had lasted to merge. That'd have been fantastic, especially to see his final jury speech would have been absolutely hilarious. Next, we got Token Sheens. It's easily post merge. There's not much that goes on in the pre merge. That's really what keeps Token Sheens for me from getting from like a high B tier season or maybe a low A tier season to be a high A tier season, because it does have such a iconic and simple post merge that's like really digestible and refreshing, but it just doesn't have the pre merge to compete. And I think Bowen has a better pre merge than Token Sheens, but the reason why Token Sheens gets rated higher than Gabon is just because the post merge is so much better and it has better characters. For Samoa, it's obviously going to be the post merge, just because that's when Russell really comes into his own. In the pre merge, Russell's kind of a villain, and in the post merge, Russell just turns into a villain who's a really good player and or like an anti-hero, I guess. Which I like anti-hero Russell more when he's actually like being a villain, but he's doing it for a reason. He's protecting his people, and again, just similar to the arc with like when there's a small group that like gets to the merge and has to overcome, you have to be post merge because that's when they overcome the odds. You see it with the I-24 post merge better in Cook Islands. You see it with the three and token genes with JT, Steven, and Taj. They have to go through the entire post merge, and so the token change post merge better. And with Samoa, the 444 have to navigate through the post merge, and therefore the Samoa post merge is better. Heroes versus villains easily pre merge, the easiest pick on the entire list. Moving on. No, I'll explain why. It's really after the JT boot, which by the way I don't think it is as cool as it's really hyped up to be. It's cool, but like there's so many more cooler votes slash tribal councils slash episodes in the history of the show than that. It was so telegraphed too. It was just so obvious what was happening. But yeah, whatever. And then after the JT boot, you have I think it's Candace and Amanda going. Very very boring boots. Very boring boots. And then you have Rupert going. Very very boring. But then no, sorry. Candace, Amanda, and then I think it's Danielle who gets blindsided. That like kicks the season back into gear. But then it has to go back to sleep for Rupert and Colby to get picked off because no one's going to beat Rupert and Colby. And then it kind of gets better from the finale with Jerry, Sandra, and Russell and Parvati, but it really doesn't because like we all know that Russell's not going to win, and we and okay, basically we all know that Russell's not going to win, and we all want Parvati to win, and so because Sandra's not in the season, like they gave her no edit, so you can only like root for Parvati because you know that Russell has like no chance of winning, and if you're rooting for Russell, then you're gonna be disappointed. So really, you only have Parvati to root for, and she loses to either Jerry or Sandra. So whoever gets there wins. It's a very very predictable and disappointing uh, finale and win. It's just overall, the winner is not for me not like respectable. It's just like it's really tough. It's really really tough. But the pre-merge is fantastic in Heroes vs Villains. I mean, there's no need for me to go through every vote. I honestly think the weakest part of the pre-merge is the premier vote, like the one where Sugar goes home, because it's just kind of like meh. There's not really much strategy, but the fact that it's the premier of Heroes vs Villains, it saves it because it's such an iconic premiere, you know. So yeah, that's it. Moving on with the back half of Survivor, like the more new school, I haven't even called that, but like the second half of Survivor history up to this point, we have Nicaragua. I would say a better post merge, but like not really because I mean I guess so because that's when Brenda really starts to become like mob boss. But then and then Marty gets like this crazy like plays this crazy move where he like keeps from playing his idol like fantastic, and then there's the Brenda blindside. And there's this and that, and then boom, boom, boom. But then the air gets sucked out of the season with the Nyaka and Purple Kelly quit, and then from there it's just pretty like obvious what's going to happen is that Chase is going to get to the end. I guess there is like the Fabio going on a run, but you just up to this point you're not really told that Fabio is going to be like a player. You just think he's going to be some idiot, and then he wins the game, and you're like, what? And so it's kind of like whatever. I mean, this is my first season I ever watched, so I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of yeah with Nicaragua, but I would say overall the post merge is better just because tie goes to the runner, and bad versus bad is a tie. Um, Redemption Island. I mean, I'm gonna give it to the pre-merge just because those first three episodes are fantastic. The entire season is bad after that, except for the merge episode. But the first three episodes where we see what is it, Francesca, Matt, and then Russell go, probably three of your like that. Like honestly, if this season plays out differently, those could be your three best characters. Friend Cheska in like she's the mastermind player and also just like a really fun character, like the anti-hero, the person you want to root for. She's really playing hard. Matt, you're just blatant hero, like your Colby type of guy. And then Russell, he's Russell. Like those are your three, possibly your three biggest characters in the season, other than Boston Rob. And they go home, boom, boom, boom. Like it's out like this season, like like Jeff says in like the pregame interviews, like this could be a really good season, and it could have been depending on who's able to stay in the game. But because Rob was on a tribe and was able to get that six, Francesca and Christina were so easily chopped out. And the only reason that they were chopped out is because they would have been good TV, and they would have tried to combat Rob, but because everybody else just votes them out, now you have a very entertaining tribe, in my opinion. Season 23, I'll go with the post merge again. I mean, even though the post merge is a pagonging, there's not much in the pre merge there, and at least the post merge has Coach like at his height of like craziness. It has Brandon Hance as like surprisingly a hero kind of, and it has Cochran flipping. So I mean, and it has Ozzy, So boom, there we go. I guess so. The season 24. I like the pre-merge for the season. I actually like the. I think I was on the episode 4 and I finished it. And I was like, this pre-merge is actually really good. Like this is like rivaling like average pre-merges, like what's an average pre-merge? Like here's versus Hustlers. Like this is rivaling like an average pre-merge. And then like I watched the after Colton goes home, really is when the season just gets really bad because then Kim has no competition for like strategically. And yeah, Colt. I honestly, I know people hate Colton. I don't like him either because he quit. But like, if Colton had stayed longer in one world, the whole pre merge could have been great, and then we could put it in like the Go Sound category and not in like the Thailand category of just the entire season's bad. Like it could have been half good, but now it's just 0% good. Season 25, we have Philippines. Philippines. It's tough because you have that fantastic Matt Singh storyline, but then you have three like or sorry, is it two or three? I think it's two. No, it's two votes, but then one medevac. It's yeah. Because it's the two votes, and then Dana gets medevac with a stomach ache. So yeah, no, those like three people going out didn't give you much, but the first four were pretty good only because it happened on Matt Singh. But you just have to go to the post merge just because the post merge also has votes that kind of tie it up. And as I keep saying, tie goes to the merge. Because you have the Jeff Ken, vote out, which is actually like a pretty underrated tribal in general. Like it's probably a top 15 tribal. It's pretty crazy. And then of course you have the until Obama takes half of it. Fantastic quote. And then you have Penner just being awesome. You have Lisa like with like emotional turmoil. Like it's super like entertaining to watch and like relatable. Scoopin surprisingly is actually pretty likable on this season. Yeah. Malcolm and Denise are super fun to root for, but especially Malcolm. Yeah, no, I mean this season is. I mean, if Malcolm wins this season is a top 5 season for me. But because he doesn't, it stays somewhere in the top 10 or maybe 11. Season 26. It's. I mean, is. I mean, I had said that Heroes versus Villains was the easiest pick, but this might be the easiest pick because the pre-merge in the season is deplorable. Deplorable. I would say overall the pre-merge in this is probably worse than the post-merge in Heroes versus Villains. I don't know why I'm comparing these. It's just fun for me to compare bad stretches to bad stretches. But yeah, no, overall this pre-merge is trash. It's pretty bad. It's like agonizing to watch, and the only good votes is yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean it's a really poorly produced pre-merge. They didn't really try any twists. They didn't do much. I mean, someone finds an idol like twice, maybe I don't know. Like I mean like there's like two idols are found in the entire thing. The Brandon Hans is not like the type of entertainment that I want. Like it's fun like it's fun to watch, but like it's not fun to watch. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. Overall, it's just like no. 27. I actually like this pre-merge a lot, and I'm gonna go with the pre-merge. I actually don't like this post-merge at all. I think so. Okay, I think when Brad goes home, this pre-merge drops for me a lot. But then you do have the Laura B boot, which is fantastic. Like, and it's actually super entertaining because she like when it goes and tells Vetus, and the Vetus like somehow like outplays her. So yeah, I'd say overall this pre-merge definitely for me. When Brad's there, it's fantastic TV. Him like just being a cocky villain. But then like I for me personally, I loved Blood versus Water. Brad Culpepper. I think Brad's a pretty interesting person. And to watch him, like start the all Mills lines, but then blindside John Cody. Yes, yeah, okay, that's what his name is. And then then he gets like blindsided by Caleb in this epic fashion. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. And so yeah, I think overall, like it was a pretty good pre-merge overall, and the post-merge, especially the first 4 boats are pretty telegraphed. You have Aris like that. I know it's like a big blindside because he's a big player, but it's not a big blindside in terms of like being surprising because we all knew that Tyson wanted to take out Aris. They had really like telegraphed this boot way before, but that's okay. And yeah, and after that, I mean, it's like an average season. You have Sierra. that's pretty much it. But aside from Tyson, nearly. So I mean, it's pretty telegraphed season, I think, overall, and it really pops out in the post merge as to like how obvious it is that either Tyson's going to win or Sierra's going to flip on, or Sierra's going to flip Monica and or Jervis and win the game, or Hayden, or one of those guys. Season 28. I'm going to go post merge. I know the season's like famed for its fantastic pre-merge, and it's a really good pre-merge. It's not the best pre-merge. It's not even a top 3 or 4 pre-merge. It's probably like a fifth or sixth ranked pre-merge for me. Like the pre-merge is it's great in the season. It's not like fantastic. Like the Cliff Blindside, fantastic. The the Garrett, like just overall, like the premiere itself, fantastic. But like the Bryce episode, mm, like it's good. It's not like a fantastic. Like it's not like this like pre-merge is not heroes versus villains, Pearl Islands levels of good, but it is good. But I personally believe that the post merge is the best post merge of all time, and it makes the season the best season of all time because all of the seasons that have like post merges that are like second and third to Kagion have pre merges that are like 10th place or 11th place or 15th place or 20th place. And so Kagion is the only season that has like two that has a post merge and a pre merge that are both in like the top 5 or 4 really. And for that reason, I like Kagion the best. But overall, I'd say post merge is better in Kagion than the pre merges. Season 29. Yeah, you have to go with post merge just because pre merge Natalie isn't there really. And then when Natalie like starts to come on, because really, before Natalie gets there, you really have John and you have Jeremy, who like are people who like you can root for and see as a game like a really big game player. Everybody else, and I guess maybe Josh, I'd say, and I feel like everybody else is kind of like just kind of there and or like maybe a good character, a decent character. But I feel like overall, when Natalie starts to play really really hard, like after the Jeremy boot, which by the way, the Jeremy boot's also great, and the boot for that's great. So I think overall the post merge is really well rounded, especially when Natalie like starts to come on, and the votes before Natalie comes on are good on their own. Aside from Natalie, moving back to bad seasons, we have moving back to a bad season. We have Worlds Apart. Um, um, hmm. I mean, I'll go with I will say post swap, Worlds Apart is great because you have the Joaquin blindside, and then I think you had the Tyler blindside, or is that post merge? I don't know, but like around the merge is when it gets good. When Mike starts to win is when the episodes start to get boring. And so I'd say overall, because most of the post merge is Mike winning, I'll go with the pre merge because it's kind of the other one. Cambodia post merge, pretty easy. It's not because the pre merge is bad. The pre merge actually like brings the season even higher. Like the fact that the pre merge isn't terrible and the post merge is fantastic means that it overall probably evens out to I'd say one of, if not the best post merge. I'd say it's Cambodia and Kagion fighting for the best post merge of all time, and for that reason, I have to give Cambodia the Cambodia's post merge the win for that one. Season 20, no, season 32. Jesus Christ, I'm hallucinating. Season 32, we got Go Wrong. I would say the post merge because you have the Debbie boot, which is fantastic television. You have the Scott boot where they're tied, where Ty doesn't give him the idol. You have all these blind sides, and because of the fact that the pre merge isn't that entertaining, to be honest. I mean, I will say Brain Tribe pre merge is awesome. Um, the the boot where Peter's left out of it, and it's like I think her name's Julia. No, it's not Julia. It's something else. But like the white girl who got voted out, like I think it was like pre swap, and then Peter gets swapped, and it's just I think Peter carries that pre merge for me personally, and then also just watching the Braun Tribe decimate is fun as well. Watching the second vote out where the girl gets to like stands on top of the Shrump and like says, "Please do not boom." I mean, so it's a pretty good pre-merge, but I'd say overall, again, Ty goes to the runner, which is the merge in this situation. Season 33, I got the post merge. I do think the post swap for the season is fantastic because all 3 or 4 votes for the post swap are flips. so it's very entertaining and unpredictable. And because of that, I do really like this post swap. But I will say the pre swap for me is probably the worst stage of the entire season, and for that reason, I do have to knock it down a bit. And because of that, the post merge takes the cake. Season 34, again, really easy pick. We have the pre merge. All of the good players go out pre merge, as well as the fact that the gameplay is overall just better in the pre merge. The editing is better in the pre merge. Um, yeah, no, I mean this isn't even close. It's not even a conversation. Season 35. I'm gonna go with the post merge only because after the JP boot, that's when the season really kicks in. But before that, at the Jessica boot and the Cole boot, it is really, really boring. And also the Joe Mena boot, it's pretty boring. But once the JP boot happens, it gets really, really interesting for me. And so I have to go to post merge. I mean, me personally, I'm a gigantic fan of the Allen boot in that pre merge. It's one of my favorite just overall votes, but like overall votes in tribals, but especially a pre merge tribal is probably my favorite pre merge tribal. I love it, but that can't carry the entire pre-merge on its own, so I have to go with that. But I will say that there were some pretty good blind sides with like Allie. Wait, is that her name? Allie? Or yeah, it's like Allie, the black girl with the blonde hair. And then there's also Patrick just being a doofus and getting blindsided. He was really pissed. So I guess there was a lot of pre-merge, but I'd say in the end I go with post-merge just because again Ty goes to the runner. Season 36. I mean, this is easy. It should be neither, but I mean, the pre-merge at least has something. The post-merge has nothing in the season, absolutely nothing, except for the merge boot. The merge boot episode is possibly better than any episode in 34, 35, or 36. I would say in that entire stretch, it's possibly the best episode. Um, Maybe even in 33. I don't know. Yeah, seriously, like, it's a fantastic episode. But every other episode in this entire season is bad. But especially in the post merge, it's very predictable, and you really don't care about a lot of people there aside from Dominic and Wendell, who are safe. So there's not much to be invested in except for Michael, which no one cares about Michael because like the only reason we're rooting for him is because he's the best out of all of the people who we don't care about, and we still don't care about him. Continuing. Season 37. I'm going to go the post merge. Great pre merge. You know, there's flips when it needs to be flips. There's, you know, like staying style when it need like when there needs to not be like somebody flipping around it, you know, it works there too. There's a lot of good characters. The editing is fantastic. The boot order is fantastic. But I would say overall the post merge has all of that going. Plus, it's the post merge. Ty goes to the post merge. I've said it 1,000 times. So in the end, I probably go with the post merge in the season. Plus, all of the characters that like you like want to get to the merge get to the merge in the season. Aside from I'm fine with Nat Cole going in the post merge, so I'm fine with that. Season 38 pre merge, post merge is pretty predictable. I mean, it's no, just no. I'd say overall pre merge. Season 37 or season 39, sorry. I would definitely go with the pre-merge just because the post swap votes are really good. Like specifically the Jason boot and the Jack of boot are great votes. Also, the post merge is tainted by the whole damn thing. So yeah. And then season 40, I'm gonna go with um I'm gonna go with pre-merge. As much as I love watching Tony dominate the game, it's like there were some votes in the post-merge that were one very poorly edited. Um, Especially like the Tyson boot, the second one was very poorly edited. But like boots like the Kim boot, I feel like I didn't get a lot of that. And then the Nick and Jeremy boots are so forgettable. Like I totally forgot that that the episode that's like named the penultimate step of the war. I totally forgot that episode ever happened. The only thing I remember is Nick being gone and Jeremy being gone. But I don't remember anything about that. So I feel like that there are some really forgettable and or poorly edited episodes slash boots. And so for that reason, I have to go to the pre-merge that had everything plus better editing, and the edge was a lot more entertaining, I guess, than it was in the post merge per se. So yeah, overall, I would go with the winners at war pre merge. 76% of you guys who are watching these videos aren't subscribed. Let's change that. It's easy and it's free. Give me ideas in the comments. Like, share, do all that good stuff. Turn on the notification bell. It's the most important thing so you know when I'm dropping a video. And if that's it, I'll see you tomorrow.